Ladies and ladies, welcome back to the Man Cave. We are doing our second ever episode. Apparently, there's more man caves out there, though, so eventually we're
Oh
going to be
yeah,
changing the name, but for now, this is a pretty okay placeholder.
yeah. We'll
Like,
take it. We'll take it.
we have Brett and Kyle here today again. Who else would
Gang,
it be?
gang, chicken wang.
And today we're going to be talking about some beef with Keemstar and H3H3, along with some other deep topics. All right.
Love to see it, man. Definitely gonna
So,
go on a lot of rabbit trails too.
yeah, exactly. We're going to be talking about aliens in about five
Yeah,
seconds
no,
here.
no, don't just wait, dude. I've done a lot more
Okay.
research. All right, let's
So,
go. Let's go.
I'm going to pull up my phone here. So I'm pretty sure it was like 2 or 3 days ago, H3H3 just decided to drop a fucking bomb out of nowhere on Keemstar. He called it content nuke.
What
And
a
in
guy.
this video, it's 45 minutes long. And he starts it out like iDub style and content cop, but he's like a safari guy. Like he's like in the Amazon jungle and he finds a snake and he's like, Keemstar is the snake. And because how iDubbbz did it was he was a cop and he would kind of just like search for like the person he was targeting as a cop. So
Mm,
he took like heavy inspiration from iDubbbz, which I thought was really funny. And then he goes on a gigantic tirade, just ending his entire career.
yeah,
He and then Keemstar ends up making a response video to H3H3, calling out one specific thing in his entire 45-minute um like entourage. That was not the right word, but it sounded cool. And he essentially said that H3 called Keemstar out for killing Etika, right? You know who Etika was, right?
yeah. He's dude that killed himself, right?
Yeah, so
Rest in peace.
Keemstar was claiming that H3 claimed that Keemstar killed Etika pretty much. But and he made his entire 20-minute video response to H3's entire video only on him not killing being the reason Etika killed himself. And then H3 responds to that video the next day saying, I never even said he killed Etika, which was true. In his video, he never even killed Etika. So if you go on to Keemstar's video, you can see he has like 400,000 dislikes and 100,000 likes on his response video. And then H3's videos both have like an overwhelming amount of positivity, like, yeah, he's right, essentially. So I think, and I've actually watched Keemstar quite a lot during Mom's Basement, and
Yeah, I love that podcast.
yeah, Mom's Basement is like a really good podcast, as me and you have talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly I didn't like him, but I didn't hate him either.
Yeah, he's
But
a he's
after,
a
yeah,
he's hard to like, to be honest, but like he's very entertaining.
he is very entertaining, and that's the only reason he hasn't died out yet.
Yeah, I would hate to like be around this guy, but I would like enjoy it.
Yeah, that's it's such like a cruel world because we live in an age where controversy is king, pretty much.
Yeah,
And we hate it, but we're like, it's
exactly.
entertaining.
It's
So
yeah, it's literally really weird. But
it's
the
so
thing,
weird.
I feel like Keemstar should have seen it coming. Like he shouldn't really be mad about people hating on him when his whole entire career is like based on just hating on people. So he should kind of
Yeah.
expect it.
Well, the problem with Keemstar is not that he hates on people or that he does like things that are controversial. It's the fact that he makes up stories to get his point across, pretty much.
That is true. It is very can be very clickbait.
It's not even clickbait. He when he's talking, like as H3 explained in his video, when he's talking or explaining a story that happened with somebody, he will he will explain it in such a way that makes it sound like 1,000 times worse than the story actually was, and he mentions facts that didn't even happen. He pulls things out of his ass pretty much,
Yeah,
which
I could definitely see that.
coincidentally is exactly what he did in his response video to H3.
Mm.
So, which I
What
find
did he?
extremely interesting.
What did he even say to Etika?
So, okay, so what happened with him and Etika, he started like a controversy thing just to because he wanted views, right?
Mm-hmm.
Etika was losing his mind on YouTube. Everyone knew, but he wanted to get views off of it. So he started showing him going crazy and started talking about him like it's like this guy is absolutely losing his mind. Can you believe this fool? Pretty much is what he was saying. But then it gets
Dang.
worse. He an hour this is don't quote me on this one. It was like about an hour after Etika got arrested by the police and taken to a mental hospital that he has Etika on an episode of Keemstar's show. He's literally talking to this man a week before he kills himself as he comes out of an insane asylum on his podcast. And essentially, Etika was saying things. He sounded like the Antichrist. And the thing is, I think he thought he was the Antichrist. That's actually what he said. Etika was literally screaming shit that sounded like he was on shrooms. Like it was horrible. And you know what Keemstar does? Absolutely nothing. He keeps asking him questions and like egging him on. Like he just wants to keep
He just
hearing the
wants
shit he's
content.
saying.
Yeah,
And it got to
really
the
just wanted
point,
content.
right? And he got to the point where Keemstar even mentioned, "So what's the point in living?" And Etika was
Ooh,
Etika was like, "Yeah, you're right." And it was just like really like
it's
fucked up.
absurd.
It
It's
was
very
really
absurd.
fucked up.
Yeah. No, that's. I think it's a hard thing on YouTube is that if someone like was screaming out for help, it'd be hard to tell if that's what they were doing or if they were just trying to get views,
Yeah.
which is hard. But yeah, I don't know much about the whole beef, but I do like Keemstar and I do like H3.
hmm
So,
Well, my
but yeah,
point is, I actually like I didn't hate Keemstar. I thought he was still very entertaining, but after watching what like every not just the Etika thing, but the countless things he did, especially to hurt this old man, pretty much that was a streamer. It was so horrible. It made me so sad. He
jeez.
it made me. It's gone to the point where I don't want to watch his content simply because I don't want to support someone who's this evil. Like even if
Yeah,
I
I
find
can
it
see that.
entertaining.
That's probably
That,
that's probably why he's losing so many subscribers then.
yeah. Like there's
Dang.
a point where it's fun and entertaining, and then there's another point where he crosses an absurd line that is just like I can't bring myself to support this person anymore.
Right. It probably dude, he probably got to it. Like everything probably just got to his head.
What do you mean?
Like he's seeing how he's blowing up off of making controversial things. So
Oh
he just
yeah.
like keeps going worse, pushing the line, pushing the line, pushing the line. So it's finally too much.
He mentions a lot in his podcast about like he talks about drama all the time because he says that's just what the people want to see because that's what he believes. He believes that controversy is what gets him views and all that stuff. So
Yeah, which it really is.
it really is. He's not wrong.
Yeah. There's a lot
But
of people out there that get tons of views off of controversy, like Steven Crowder.
but
I don't know, just a
but
lot of people like that.
yeah. But what Logan Paul mentioned in his podcast meant talking about this whole controversy was do you really want that to be your legacy when you leave this world behind? That I left this
Right.
world behind as a worse place than it was before.
Yeah, that's facts. That's exactly what he's doing.
That's exactly what he's doing. If he were to die today, he would have left the world a worse place than it was before he came here.
That's
Like,
crazy.
and
There's just
that's,
people like that, dude.
yeah. I think they don't think about that stuff though.
Yeah. What's crazy is how there's a quote and it's like fast success or quick success leads to a ego issue, and then slow
hmm
success leads to confidence or like a legacy. And what happened with Keemstar is he blew up within like no time at all.
Yeah,
So his quick success got to his ego so much that it made him do this stuff.
that makes a lot of
Meanwhile,
sense.
yeah, meanwhile people grind and they don't have an ego issue. They just get crazy confidence and they actually leave behind a legacy.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you blow up fast, you probably become pretty toxic. Same with Banks. Banks blew up very quick and he has a big ego issue too. But I don't think he's as bad as Keemstar. They have very similar
Yeah.
personalities, but
I low key like Banks. I think
he's a
he's got
cool
a good
guy.
heart. I think he's got a
Yeah.
good heart and he's a good person. I think his habits just get the best of him a lot of
Just
the
his
time.
personality. Yeah.
He
It's just his
seems
personality.
what about his personality?
I don't know. There's that personality type that really like gets on people's edge, which is like his personality. And it's a neurotic plus he's a very neurotic plus extroverted personality, which means you put yourself out there a lot. And the more you put yourself out there, the more susceptible you are to uh looking bad and like being hated.
Hmm.
Because I think there's people out there that don't voice who they are, even though they could be terrible people. But then there's people like Banks that are completely voice everything that they are, which makes them susceptible to hate. They even like he voices the bad parts of himself and the good parts.
You know, I have a theory. I think that Banks is a good guy living in a surrounded by idiots, surrounded by toxic people. That's
Yeah,
causing
the
that.
phase house, dude.
I genuinely think that because he constantly gets so aggravated in the podcast, like he wants to say what he wants to say, and he's like, could you just give me 5 seconds to say what I want to say, pretty much.
Yeah, let
And
him explain himself.
there's an ego issue going on in his whole household thing and the people he's surrounded with. Everyone wants the spotlight,
Yeah,
and I think he's obviously part of the problem. But I think out of everyone there, he's probably one of the better ones.
yeah. Phase is all about fame and clout and all that.
Yeah, and
So I
he's
can see
like
how
the
that'd be a
only
problem.
founder left, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't even know. I think it was like him and
It's
Adapt.
Adapt, Phase Rain,
Yeah,
and there was one more.
Temper.
I think it was Temper, yeah.
Yeah, him and that little short dude that's kind of annoying are like the only founders left.
Honestly, I don't even know what the other founders look like. I just know what Banks looks like.
You would notice him if you saw him. He's all over the internet, but
Probably.
Banks is the only one that's like memorable.
All right, that's enough ground beef for today. So, let,
Yeah, let's spark some controversy, man.
yeah, let's spark our
Get
own
ourselves some
controversy.
plays.
Yes. Okay. So another thing that has struck my mind recently is creativity.
That's big, dude. Me too.
And
That's like my life right now. It's trying to figure out creativity.
what's your struggle with creativity?
My struggle with creativity is letting my ego get in the way of it, which can be explained actually through psychological science. Done a lot of research on it, and
Yeah, explain.
I don't know. I'm pursuing music, right? So that's an extremely creative thing,
Right.
and the most the best way to get creative, or like where all creativity stems from, is from being in the flow state. And what the flow
Hmm.
state is basically where your entire ego just like fades to the back and your mind just takes over. So you have no thoughts about your physical needs or your like mental needs or anything. You just focus on an objective and you're so and like cased by it that that's all you can think about,
Hmm.
which is crazy. And there's a there's this doc or a psychologist that makes like an entire book on like what the flow state is, and the entire idea like blew up because people that are extremely creative are the ones that can get into the flow state easily, which means just completely forgetting about your ego and just letting whatever's in your mind flow. And there's ways you can actually get into the flow state, which is what I've been practicing a lot,
Like what?
which is like I don't know. When you wake up in the morning, you wake up in a flow state because your mind is just waking up Your ego has not taken place in your life, like
I agree with
right when
that.
you wake up. Yeah. And there's no fatigue, there's no anything. I don't know, your mind just kind of is super fresh.
I completely agree with all of this because I think both you and I have obviously felt this feeling before when you are in a
Yeah,
flow state. The
everyone
worst,
has.
the worst fucking feeling about the flow state though is when you realize you're in it.
Yeah, and
And
then you
then
get
then it's
fully out of
gone.
it.
You're only in it when you don't realize it.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Like that's what sucks about it.
It's a completely natural thing too.
Yeah.
And like literally the best moments in life are not the like relaxing passive ones. The best moments in life is when like you have a challenge and your mind is being so stretched to its limits that you enter the flow state and accomplish something difficult. If that makes sense.
I
That's what the
I
flow state's all
100%
about.
agree with this. I
Yeah.
100% agree with this.
You don't get stuff done by being relaxed and being passive and just being chilled out. You get stuff done by like taking your mind to the
Pushing your
extreme.
limits, like expanding your
Yeah,
boundaries.
exactly.
That is exactly what happened to me this morning. I was playing Beat Saber on my Oculus Quest,
Do
and there was this
ASMR.
level. There was this level. I no clue what it was called, but it was so hard because my mind wasn't 100% there. Like I knew that if I was really in it, I could do it.
Mhm.
But when I was 95% there, I just could not do it.
Yeah.
So what I did was I warmed up in a sense by doing a few like challenging levels, but they were easier than that one, ramping up into that thing. And then I was in the zone. Like then when I was doing that level again, I was 1000% in it. I was thinking about absolutely nothing else in my mind. All I cared about was hitting those goddamn blocks as they came to my face and
Oh
hitting
my
them
god.
perfectly. And I demolished that fucking level first try. It
Yeah,
it's the flow state is the most powerful thing.
it
And
is.
I have to say, when I was in that flow state and when I was actually killing it, I was like, I'm killing it right now.
It feels
It's the
so
most
good.
amazing feeling, like just pushing a boundary you didn't think was
Yeah.
possible before.
It's like when you're faced with such a great challenge, but like you're completely confident in your skills.
Yeah. Like I was like, I know I can do this shit if I just give it
Yeah.
an extra effort.
That's
Like
insane, dude. And
that's
you can actually train your brain to always be in a sense of flow state actually, which is
right.
crazy. There's a quote by he's like a French philosopher, Albert Camus, and what he says is that wait, I have it on my computer. Let me pull it up.
That
It's like my little home screen. Okay, it says every man has felt himself to be the equal of a god at certain moments, but this comes from the fact that in a flash, he's felt the amazing grandeur of the human mind, which means like completely maxing out your human mind at that point. And what he says is that the conquerors of like the world are those who can always live in this state, which you can.
I would love to know your
Yeah,
ways.
like get me there, please.
Dude, I swear to God. So when I was actually doing good with that girl at one point, I walked out of that store feeling like a fucking god. Like
Yeah, it feels good. That's what
I thought I could move a goddamn mountain if I wanted to.
it's living in
Like
the heights of your mind, bro.
I literally felt like a fucking god. That
Yeah,
was the peak of my human existence so far.
it's
Was that
insane,
moment
dude.
after walking out of the store.
Yeah,
Like
no,
I
it's
don't
crazy.
know what it was, but
And
I
like that's
just
what
felt
yeah.
so good, and I will
What
do
I always
anything to get that back.
yeah, dude, same. What I always imagine is like the Spartans going to war and like how crazy their mind must have been because
Hmm.
basically their whole thought process was like I'm going to go in and I'm just going to either I'm going to come out dead or alive. That's it. That's all it's like I'm either going to come out a winner or I'm going to die. Like that's
Right.
what it is. And like their mind must have been so like I don't know, dude, just in like that flow state.
I think the key to achieving a flow state is giving absolutely zero shits.
It's
I
exactly what it is, dude.
that's what it is, right? It's
Yeah,
when you have 1,000% confidence in yourself and you don't give a shit what anyone else thinks.
you will conquer the world, dude.
I'm. This is why I wanted to talk about this other topic. I wanted to talk more about creativity, but we'll get back into it. We'll talk about limiting beliefs because I think if you can conquer your limiting beliefs, you can conquer anything. Like
Mhm.
the limiting beliefs are literally the only thing holding you back as a person, I believe.
Explain some of the limiting beliefs you've encountered.
So I have a list. Hang on, I wrote them down before. So like one of the things I do is I'll think of a topic I want to talk about when I'm around my family or people that like I'm kind of close with that have control over me. And like for example, I don't want to talk about college in front of my parents
Yeah.
because I'm afraid that if I do, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I think you should go back to college or something," because I don't want to go back to college.
Yeah, screw that, man.
That's my limiting belief. Oh, not hang on. That's me not wanting to be vulnerable, I think.
Yeah,
Because
because you
when
care
you
what they think.
I care what they think because they have control over me.
Mhm.
And in my opinion, the worst thing you can have in your life is people who have control over you.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You should
And you give them
always,
that control, bro.
yeah, that's the problem. I give them that control. I'm doing my best to try and find a way to where it's not at that point anymore. But as it stands, I feel like I have no choice that they have control over me. Do you agree with
Mhm.
that?
Wait, say that one more time.
Do you feel like they do actually have control over me at this point in time and there's nothing I can really do about it except work towards my freedom?
Yeah, I think uh it all depends on what you think in your mind, because people can have control over you, but it all depends on what you think. It's all mental chains, bro,
hmm
and we have the key to unlock it. So
I
you just
think
gotta find that, dude.
I think I just need to allow myself to be more vulnerable around them because
Yeah.
this comes at a cost that they don't really know what's going on inside my mind.
Mhm.
And we can't really discuss certain things that we probably should be discussing that would probably benefit all of us a lot more and connect more as a family.
Yeah.
So I think that is a big issue.
Yeah.
And
What I like to think is that the more people that understand your life and how you live, the more successful you'll be.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
People understand you as a person, understand your motives, your mission, all those things. They have way more reason to support you and be your friend and connect with you, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
Someone famous said human connection is the most powerful thing at some point, I'm pretty sure. Like,
Yeah, no, it really is. It'll completely change your life, and that's why when you have to, sometimes it takes cutting important people out to be successful.
yeah, dude. That's why I don't know. I don't have like really any friends besides you at this point. You
Yeah, no,
and
that's definitely good.
I
People are
think
the number one
you
thing to hold you back, dude.
Yeah, I think you and Curtis are probably my only real friends, and even Curtis I don't talk to that much.
Yeah,
But like I've been talking to him more. But
yeah,
but at the same time, it's good that I don't have a bunch of unnecessary friendships that are holding me back from growing as a person. But at the same time, I also feel like it would be beneficial for me to have a few friends that I could really connect with that could help me grow more as a person as well, you know?
yeah. No, I feel that for sure. It's definitely hard to let people go that are like really doubtful because there's people that like believed in me at one point, but then like over time stopped, and it's hard to cut them out. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Don't like Mark Zuckerberg people, but
What do you
but
mean?
yeah. What he did, he would like he started a whole business with like
Yeah.
I don't know, two of his friends, and then when it got big, he like completely cut them out, and it was just his
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
about that. From my perspective, it sounded kind of fucked up, but I don't know all the logistics and the whatever. I
Yeah.
I think it wasn't really. I think the story goes that they all had the idea, but Mark was the only one that actually pursued the idea, and like he's the one that acted on it, but they just came up
Yeah.
with the idea itself with him.
That's true. I guess I don't know completely the situation.
So, in my opinion, though, I can see why Mark should only get possession of it, but at the same time, if I were Mark, I probably would have made an active effort to at least try to work on it with them, so that way it would be fair that
Yeah.
we, or at least tell them that, hey, I'm going to start working on this idea. If you guys want, if you guys want a part of it, you're going to need to help me out with it, type of thing, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure. I
Not
think
just like Mark. Okay, Mark did all the work. Now let's piggyback off him because we had the idea with him, you know.
yeah, no, for sure, bro.
But so, what do do you have any limiting beliefs that you know of that you realize?
Uh doubts, dude. Everything. Try to think of beliefs. Uh I think one belief is that I think people care much more than they actually do. Like you I remember hearing one quote. I don't know who it was from, but it was saying something about how we don't notice how little people actually care about the things we do and the things we like pursue. But we think like when we create stuff like, oh my gosh, this has to be perfect because these people are gonna like judge me and they're gonna care if it's not perfect. But you got to realize that they don't actually really think that much. And they don't actually really like care if whatever you're creating is bad.
Well,
If that makes
are you
sense.
talking about music and like content
Yeah.
creation and
'Cause I
stuff?
always think like, oh, I got to get this perfect because these people are gonna judge me if it's not.
They're
But
not gonna
really,
they're not gonna judge you. They're not gonna be
they could
like, "Oh,
care
this guy
less.
sucks." They
Yeah.
could care less. But here's the difference. If you do make perfect music, in my opinion, but there's no such thing as perfect music. But there's like a standard, like there's a difference between exceptional music and pretty good music, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah, for sure.
There is a difference, and you're right. If you had pretty good music or exceptional music, people would judge you the same. They really wouldn't care. The
Yeah.
difference is people will enjoy the exceptional music a lot more subconsciously, and they won't even know why.
Yeah. And
That's
I think a
just
lot of people what they respect a lot more is how much of yourself you put into that music rather than how good it is, if that makes sense. A lot of people will notice that. It's surprising how much people notice like if you're just making music to just like try to be famous or if you're making it just to like actually express yourself.
now when you say that, do you talk about listeners respecting you, or are you talking about other music creators respecting you?
Probably just listeners. Probably
I'm just
both.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. There's
But
this whole
what?
thing about it's Charles Bukowski. He talks about like the blue bird that lives inside of people.
Uh-huh.
And what he talks about is that a lot of people think they're too tough to let that bluebird out, which is like he's talking about the bluebird as creativity,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. He says a lot of people their entire life, like that creativity is screaming to get out, but people
Yeah.
think they're too tough for it, so they always let it stay inside of them. And that's when
You
they get to the
know,
end of their life and realize that they regret it.
I think that blue bird of creativity is not just like creativity, it's just like your true self.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, for sure. You got to
Logan,
remember who you were before the world told you who to be.
dude, that's literally that's literally um a quote straight out of Logan Paul's newest merch launch.
I think he stole that from someone.
He definitely stole it from someone,
Yeah,
but that's
fake
what he
heat.
said. Like he wanted to be the person he was before anyone else knew who he was, pretty much, or whatever.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And that is my goal. That has been my goal since I left college. I did not feel like myself, and I fucking hated it.
Hmm.
Fucking hated
No,
it.
for sure, bro. Because
My
you people told you to go to college, and that's where you're like, oh, I got to do that, man.
Yeah, they told me I needed to go to college, and
That's just yeah. That's
the
what the world
problem
tells
was
everyone.
the only reason I agreed though is because I didn't have any other like I didn't have some a dream or a pursuit that I saw otherwise other than going to college. It was just there was no real goal in mind, you know.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure.
So I just figured I'd give it a try.
Yeah. You got to find what you love, bro, and you got to let it kill you.
So back to creativity though. So as Steve Jobs has mentioned from Pablo Picasso, that a good artist copies and a great artist steals, right?
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is that quote was like I said, he took that from Picasso, and then
Mhm.
Picasso took that from someone else, and someone else took that from someone else.
Exactly.
I did some research on it. People just take stuff from time to time,
Yeah.
but the thing is, they didn't just take the quote exactly from each other.
Mhm.
Except Steve from Picasso, he did, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
they
You got to
adapted it in
twist it.
such a way. Like
Yeah.
originally, it was about poems. It was like a great poet copies or a good poet copies and a great poet steals, but
Mhm.
not exactly those words. But you get
Yeah.
the point. It
Well, you
was
got to take
remixed.
people's ideas and you got to turn those into your ideas.
Exactly. It's all about remixing.
Yeah, remixing. I like that.
So, like I was showing you, I was making shoes. I was making shoes on
Yeah.
Photoshop the other day, and
Bet you were in the flow state,
obviously,
weren't you?
what's that?
Said I bet you were in the flow state.
Oh, I actually was like I was like full send. Like I was really tired before I started making those, but then like I started working on it, and I was like so excited to keep working on them all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That was 100% the flow state, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it makes no sense, but it's like makes sense when you're in it. It's weird.
And but my point is, I tried drawing a shoe before, like without looking at another good shoe, like in right in front of me, and it
Mhm.
just looks like a 5-year-old like tried drawing a truck on a piece of paper. Like it didn't even look like a shoe.
Oh,
It
rip.
was absolutely horrible. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, this is clearly not going very well.
Yeah,
Let
and I
me
feel that.
let me try copying my shoe in my closet because I like that shoe a lot, and just realizing what makes this design so likable to me.
Yeah. No, that's what we were talking about a while back about
Right,
learning things. Learning the best way to learn things is copying others,
exactly. It
which is
it's
crazy.
so true. They say
Yeah.
creativity is about just taking all the ideas you have stored in your mind, all the ideas that you've collected over a long time, and putting together as like a puzzle, like in the proper way and creating something new.
Yeah, exactly.
So the interesting thing that I found when I was designing the shoe was that the most important part was not like the front or the back or the bottom. It was the part where you put your foot into, like the hole.
That was wait, the most important part? Or
Yes, if like in Photoshop, how you know how you could just erase lines and draw new ones and stuff, right?
yeah.
If I erase the curvature of the way it like bends where your foot goes into the hole, it's really hard for me to explain without showing you a drawing.
Mhm.
It just changed the entire look of the shoe, and
Yeah.
I was just blown away by
No one would
that
ever
fact.
think of that. Like when they're first creating a shoe, no one ever would think like, "Oh, like we got to focus on where the foot goes."
Yeah,
But it's
I
crazy how the little things matter most.
exactly, bro. Like I when I was making my shoe before when I was making the shoe before I copied my own my other shoe, I had no like I was trying to think how I could make the front like the pointed front the best it could be because I thought that was probably the most important. But like I couldn't have been any further from the truth.
Yeah.
It was the other part of the shoe where the hole is that ended up being the most important part,
Yeah.
which
I think
just fascinates me.
that's big on when you're trying to master something is that it's not about learning what's right, it's about learning what's wrong. I think that's more important.
Yeah, it's a huge combination of both, but I think you are right. It's more important what not to do than what to do, I think that's
Yeah.
very accurate.
Yeah. Because
The problem,
when you learn what not to do, it will lead you on like it will lead you to what you should do.
yeah, think
It's
about
about
it this
process of
way.
elimination.
If you make a vlog, right, but it's like the worst vlog of all time, and then you analyze it and you're thinking, what should I have not done in this video?
Hmm.
And you're looking through it and you're like, I shouldn't have done this entire vlog. Like you're saying every single part of this vlog sucked pretty much.
Yeah.
And assuming that you're right, then that's when it comes in and you have to know what to do in place of the things that you did, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why it's also important. You got to know what to do, not just what not to do.
Yeah, exactly. Creativity wise, so many people focus on trying to do everything right when they should just be
Hmm.
trying to focus on limiting doing things wrong.
Yeah.
Because you can never be perfect. So it's all about it's not about being perfect, it's about just like not being so bad, if that makes sense. It's a bad way to put it, but
Get good.
yeah, get good.
I agree with that. And that's why I think short paced video, like short, shorter videos nowadays are getting more attention. And especially in the age of ADHD, that's extremely important
Hmm.
because people have such low attention spans that if you lose them for even 5 seconds, they might click away, you know?
Yeah. No, that makes
So
sense for sure.
if you cut out all the bullshit of a video or a song and just leave all the beautiful stuff in, even if it's a lot shorter than the original video or a song, people are gonna like your content or your songs way more.
Hmm.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
My brother actually has a bunch of friends over right now. They're all fishing in a boat,
Dude, he's so into
and
fishing right now.
he is obsessed with fishing.
He hits me up every day, like, yo, we gotta go fishing.
I don't know why. It used to be the other way around. I used to be obsessed with fishing, and he was like, meh.
Yeah, I go
And
into phases, bro. I'll be obsessed with fishing. I literally went fishing today. I'll be obsessed with it, and then like I'll get bored of it, and then I'll go back to it.
yeah, I think the honest reason why I don't like fishing as much as I used to anymore, I'm gonna sound like a animal, like a vegetarian now, but I just don't like hurting the fish pretty much. I don't like the chance
Yeah,
of killing the
dude.
fish.
This entire last week, I did so much research on that, and I even like literally dropped like so many things in the Discord about how animals they can be altruistic, which means like they'll do selfless things and they'll help other animals.
Yeah.
Like elephants. Elephants will like if they see another elephant in danger or if they see even humans like struggling, they'll find ways to help, which is crazy. And what I was always questioning was like, do animals have consciousness? Like do they actually feel like humans do? Which they do have consciousness. It's not as great as ours. Like humans are the most conscious beings, but they do have consciousness. But the thing with fish is they give every sign of pain, like they release all the endorphins whenever they're in trouble and like in pain or whatever, but they process pain differently. It's not the same as us. So
Hmm.
that's why I kind of got over the whole like, oh, I don't want to hurt the fish, if that makes sense. But yeah,
Wait, so say that last part again. I didn't quite catch
like
it.
they get pain, but they don't
Yeah.
process it in the same ways we do.
Yeah. It still
So I
like
wouldn't
bothers
necessarily,
me though.
yeah, I
Like
came to the conclusion that it's not necessarily cruel, but
I don't think fishing is cruel, and I can allow myself to do it, and because I still find it fun. Like if there's a giant ass barracuda on a dog, that's a fun thing to
yeah,
catch, you know.
I gotta catch that thing, bro.
But at the same time, it it's like, do I really care that much about catching the thing when I'm just gonna like ruin this thing's entire week? It
Yeah.
I don't know. I just when I see a fish getting reeled in or like has a hook in his mouth, even in their gills, or it's just like what did this fish do to deserve this? You know, like
Yeah.
I sound like a fucking uh I don't know, like one of I don't want to sound like one of those people, but that's just how I feel.
Yeah, no, I feel that. And even scientists have done so much research on it and they cannot come to a conclusion whether it's painful or not. But
I feel like that's why everyone loves animals so much though, because everyone loves dogs, right? Like
dude, yes.
everyone loves dogs because all
Yeah.
dogs do is they just make people's lives better, right?
Yeah. They're very altruistic.
Exactly. That's why everyone loves dogs.
Right.
And I feel like if humans were that way, everyone would love humans, but there's a lot of humans that aren't like that.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
So I feel like if I feel like that's why some of the most respected and well loved like influencers today are people who just do nothing but give back, you know, and just
Yeah.
help
Like
other
Mr.
people.
Beast.
Yeah, Mr. Beast, even David Dobrik,
Yeah.
and even like I've said his name so many times. Logan Paul, he's been doing a much better job as well.
Very surprising.
Like I genuine like I'm not kidding, man. I've said it like 50 times now, but that man has made the biggest comeback of the entire human existence. Like I
That's
swear
actually
to you,
hilarious.
he is a
Most
different
hated man to
person.
like. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about how he's different, but
Yeah. Have you
yeah,
watched his channel lately?
I have not. I watched him on I guess you call it a podcast. It was like a Joe Rogan kind of thing. It wasn't Joe Rogan, but it was Stefan
Him.
Aarnio. He's like a big businessman and he had Logan Paul on
Uh
his
huh.
podcast because he was talking about how Logan Paul actually is very good at business.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the last I've seen of it.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
Oh, I saw that like 7, 8 months probably.
Oh, that was that. That's he changed a
I think that was
lot from
yeah, that
eight
was
months
right
ago.
after. I think like right after. He was still being hated then.
Yeah. He. You should watch his podcast. It's called Impulsive. I swear to God, you will probably love it. Like I
That's
cannot get
funny.
enough of him. It he. I think he has the best podcast on the internet right now.
I wonder what would happen if
Next
like
to the
FaZe
man cave, of
Banks.
course.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Bro, what if you put FaZe Banks, Keemstar, and Logan Paul on in a room? I'm sure it's happened.
in in the same room.
Yeah, I wonder what would go down.
He do, I don't. He hates Keemstar. He hates Keemstar.
Okay, yeah.
He has him blocked on every single social media.
That'd be funny to see them go at it. Because Keemstar would fight him. Keemstar is not scared to fight people.
He. I will give him that. He is not scared.
Yeah.
He
Did you ever
is.
you ever
That
see that video
depends.
of him beating up that one dude?
No, I've never seen that.
That was funny. There was
What's it
there's
called?
I forget what the dude's name was. You can just look up Keemstar fighting and like it'll probably come up. But
Okay.
he I forget I think what happened was Keemstar gave this dude like a bunch of weed and the dude
Okay.
just like sold it all and made money off of it. It made Keemstar so mad for some reason. And Keemstar just found him on the streets and just like fought him.
Oh my God! I'm watching this video right now.
Yeah.
Dude, he oh my God, bro, he
Bro, he
just went at
suplexes
him.
him. He
Dude.
suplexes him.
Yeah, he literally suplexed his ass.
Yeah.
Bro. Dude, he is not afraid. He is aggressive,
He's
dude.
very aggressive, dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, whoever's watching this, if anyone ever watches this, make sure we're shouting out the Impulsive podcast right now. The number one podcast in the world after us, of course. We are
Hmm.
obviously number one.
Yeah. I mean, just check our views.
Yes. Yeah. 2 views. Actually, 0 views at the moment, but
Uh-oh.
because I had to restart the channel.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But
It's all right. Kyle,
anyways,
Kyle will probably delete these within a couple months.
yeah, don't worry, guys. This content will be unlisted for the next 1,000 years. So until like my great grandson realizes I was actually a genius or some shit, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
and resurfaces them.
I just thought I was an idiot the whole time, you know.
Hello, Kyle's grandson.
Anything you want to say before we end this podcast, Braden?
No, I've said all I could, bro.
And there you have it, folks. Thanks for stopping by if you stopped by and doing all those things. So, bye, guys.
See ya.